Ready?
It's not you recording. Hello?
Hi.
Oh, hi. Hi, Rena.
Hi, how are you?
Not doing well. We go out there a bit. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Sure, no problem.
Should we start?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, do you mind if we record it? Because we wanted to post on social media. All right, thank you so much.
I'll warn you that my dog's right here and he may bark. So
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. So thanks again so much for coming and talking to us. We really resonated with CBI's goal of eliminating preventable blindness because I actually lost my glasses when I was playing soccer. And when I returned to school on Monday, I was not able to see the board clearly. And even though I was moved to the first row, I still had to ask my classmates next to me for notes. And I realized this was not an isolated incident, and many underprivileged people do not have access to the proper eye equipment. And we wanted to do something about that. In addition, our grandfather lost his left eye when he was in a taxi accident. And we saw firsthand the effect of partial blindness because he always had to use a powerful microscope whenever he was reading.
Additionally, me and Aman have a very close bond. And when I heard he wanted to raise awareness for people with vision impairment, I wanted to help. So we started a glasses drive and we were able to collect over 100 pairs of glasses in the first week.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she came up with actually a really innovative strategy that not only would she just send out an email to her entire school, she actually made an incentive. So she goes to a Catholic school, and she offered a dress down day in order for every pair of glasses you got, the kids would get a dress down day. So she's really innovative in that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. Is there anything you'd like to say to give an intro to combat blindness for anybody who would be watching this?
Sure, absolutely. So Combat Blindness International is a US-based, actually Madison, Wisconsin-based nonprofit. And our mission is to alleviate preventable blindness. And we do that by using innovative strategies, technology, with an emphasis on providing sustainable, equitable eye care to those in need. And the organization was actually started 38 years ago by my father, who's an ophthalmologist, and he's emeritus faculty at the University of Wisconsin, Madison. And when he established himself here, he just really wanted to do something to give back. And so he started his work in India, but we've since that time expanded, and we've been in over 17 countries on 4 continents. So we work primarily in 4 areas. We do cataract operations in low-income countries. We screen children for eyeglasses, and if they have issues, we need other treatment or surgery, we provide that for them free. And we also have a very innovative program, women's empowerment program, where we train young women from villages in India to become eye screeners and eye technicians. And they learn professional skills, they become financially independent. And then 4th, on a smaller scale, when we have funds, we also support the building of surgical centers and vision centers.
Yeah,
So
that's really motivational. Yeah, thank you so much. Also, speaking about your father, we read your father's story, and that was very motivating about how he was inspired to start CBI. But we were also curious about how you got involved with CBI, because we know that now you're the president.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been involved with CBI since I was a little girl. Obviously, it was around me all the time. I still remember when I was 11 years old and my dad wanted to start the foundation, and he brought in, some community leaders to ask their advice on how to start the organization. And from that point on, myself and my whole family have been involved. I worked several years as a volunteer, And then in 2006, I began writing grants for CBI to help us increase our funds for our projects. And then from there, I moved into development or fundraising, overall fundraising position. And then I left for a little while to get some more experience and realized that CBI was where my heart was. And it was also the point where my dad wanted to have a transition. He knew he was getting older and he wanted to know that CBI would be in good hands. And so we started the transition of me running the daily operations.
All right. All right. So we know you've been all around the world helping with CBI. We were curious about what was the most touching patient story you encountered while you were on your journey?
Oh, wow. That's a really good question because they're all amazing stories. I mean, you would not believe how transformational the work is and how it changes someone's life, to be able to, not be able to see anything and help and be really limited in what you can do for your daily chores, your daily life work, and then to regain your sight, and it changes a person's life. But there was a story. There is a story that like kind of sticks with me. It just always solidified for me why we do the things we do and why we look how our work is transformational. So it is actually before I even came to work for CBI, I used to go to India with my dad. And one time when I was in college, I was about 20, 21 years old. And I went to India with him, and we were in villages and we were screening children who have a form of blindness called xerophthalmia. And what that means is they don't have enough vitamin A. And so as a result, if you don't have enough vitamin A, your cornea of your eye actually melts. If you treat it early enough, it can be reversed. But if you don't, then the blindness is permanent and there's nothing you can do. And so we would go into these villages, we would screen the children for vitamin A levels, for their vision. We would give them boosters of vitamin A, but then we would also provide seeds for fruits and vegetables that were rich in vitamin A. And so we would teach the families how to grow these seeds, take these seeds and grow the fruits and vegetables and why they were important to their children's nutrition. And while we were in the camp, there was these two gentlemen who kept insisting on talking to us, and we found out they wanted us to come to their home, and see their home and meet their family. And so we did. And when we arrived, it was actually 5 or 6 brothers who all lived in a joint house, and really was just a very long hut. And basically, and they were standing there with all these fruits and vegetables. And basically what they had done is they had taken the seeds and they had actually, instead of just having like a little kitchen garden, they had land and they created a farm. Wow. And they had grown the vegetables. All their children were cured of xerophthalmia. And then they had also started a family business so they can earn money with those seeds for their family. So I just, every time I think about it, it kind of gives me goosebumps to know like that, something so small as, vitamin A, which is pennies, and some seeds, a packet of seeds, changed this family's life.
You gave them a whole livelihood.
Yeah.
That's yeah. So it goes further than just preventing blindness. So
exactly. Exactly. And that's what we try to do,
So adding on to that, so what's your favorite part about being on the CBI team? Because I know I saw there was like a lot of people who are involved with this project. And especially since you were working with your dad earlier on. So I was kind of curious about like the work environment and just your favorite part in general.
Yeah. Well, we have a very collaborative work environment, and we have a very active board of directors. And I love working with them. Our whole team is just, everyone kind of brings their ideas to the table. It's very collaborative. There's no egos, and everybody just has a real passion for the cause. And so, one of my favorite things is working actually with, our CBI team, but working directly with our partners on the ground, being able to explore new projects, how to build the capacity of our partners, because ideally we want them to be strong enough in their infrastructure and their funding in order to do the work, and not really need us as an organization. That's really any nonprofit, that should be their end goal, that they're actually not needed because they've helped build the organization or the partner from the inside.
Yeah, that's a really unique take. I didn't think about it like that.
And also, what encouraged you and the rest of the CBI team to develop Audia, the mobile screening service that empowers women?
Sure. Yeah, so the ADIA initiative is one of our newer projects, and it really stemmed from the pandemic. Normally when we would go to countries like India, our partner on the ground would put the word out in a village that there's going to be a screening, and they would do it in a camp where they would find a building, and community leaders would spread the word, and then people would come and they would set up within a building like different stations. So there was a registration, initial eye exam, and so on. And that's how they would examine patients and determine who was fine, who needed glasses, who needed further treatment like surgery for cataracts or other things. And but because of the pandemic, you couldn't have group gatherings like that. And what they found was people, particularly in rural communities, were falling through the cracks. They were too scared to come into the city or go to the surgical centers because they were afraid they would get COVID. And so our partners initially started this project where they had sent some of their screening technicians or ophthalmic technicians door to door to try to see if they could capture those patients and make sure that they didn't slip through the cracks. But the problem was that they were writing everything down on paper. And so when they would bring that information back to the hospital, sometimes it would get lost. Sometimes there was human error in re-entering it into the system. And so we started talking to them about, is there a way to use technology to make this more efficient? And so that's really what happened with Adia, where we have the screeners, we train them, and then when they also use mobile technology to not only their screening tool is on their phone to screen the patients, but then also we created a survey so they can enter the patient data right into the survey.
Yeah. And so how would you actually find these women that you're trying to empower and help them become like technicians?
Sure. So we actually actively recruit in the villages that we're screening. So we go into the villages, we interview young people, young women primarily, and that's where we recruit from.
Okay.
And so they already have a tie to the community. They're already known a little bit in the community. So it really helps with the patient screener relationship, and that they feel confident because they know this person is from their area.
Yeah, they've like developed that trust already. It's not like some like random person coming in and
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what type of training would like the women go through for like in order to learn how to conduct a screening and with the mobile?
Sure. So the training is about a month to 2 months long, and basically their initial training is just the eye basics. What is the eye? All the different parts of the eye. And then it builds from there to what are the different conditions in the eye, and then they get into more in the field training where they might be paired up with another screener and they learn how to examine a patient. And so it's a combination of in classroom as well as in field training.
And this is all done inside their villages. They don't have to go. Do they have to go somewhere else to complete this 1 month training program?
It depends on how far they are from like a surgical center. They may have to go to like the nearest surgical center, because there's a classroom there with everything that they need. Yeah.
Okay.
So we were also wondering how the pandemic has changed your goals or like partnerships with nonprofits like UW Whitewater.
Sure. So so the pandemic has changed a lot, particularly in terms of fundraising. It's a lot harder now to fundraise because there's a lot of efforts being put into the pandemic, rightly so. I mean, as we all know, it was quite a disruption for everybody for the last 2 years, and now we're moving into another phase of another variant. So, but we really, I mean, part of the core sort of identity of CBI is that we create partnerships. We don't try to be the expert at everything, but we try to create very strong, innovative partnerships to move our projects forward. And so that's why we have been partnering with UW Whitewater and Enactus, which is actually a student group, and Enactus is an organization that's worldwide. And they've really been helping us in terms of the logistical aspects of ADIA, and really also looking at ADIA as a sustainable business model. Mm-hmm. One of the things we've had to look at as a nonprofit is there a way that we can, through our project, generate a profit that we can actually return to these young women? No. And so the goal is that through our sustainable business model and through this sale of, when they examine the patients, if there's an opportunity for where a patient needs glasses, they can sell them the glasses for a small amount of money, as well as, so they get, there's a money to be made from the sale of glasses, plus the referral. If they see a patient, they need to go to the hospital for further examination. And if that patient shows up, the government will pay a referral fee. And so that part of that fee can get given to the young women. So through this model, through this business model, we can actually pay them a salary. We don't see any of it. It goes directly to these young women, and we think that we might be, well, we know that we are able to provide them with a salary that's about 4 times what they would earn if they lived and worked in their village.
Is that kind of what like World Sight Day was? Is that what, to like raise money and awareness during the pandemic?
No, so World Sight Day is something that we celebrate every year. It's a global holiday or global event every year, just to raise the awareness of preventable blindness and vision loss around the world. And so CBI uses that day as our one and only fundraiser for the year. And it's usually our time to share, to kind of do a live annual report and share some of our projects and provide some interesting information to our donors and supporters. So we usually try to give them an overview of the work we've done throughout the year. We might have a keynote speaker. This year, we're actually doing a short film. We're creating a short film that follows a patient from their village, being screened, their journey to the hospital, their surgery, and then back to their home again. And so you can actually be part of that patient's eye care journey.
Oh, that's amazing. I know you touched on the pandemic being like hard up for all of us and especially CBI, but what was the biggest obstacle you faced while trying to grow Combat Blindness International?
Sure. Well, within the pandemic, I think the hardest thing was with the lockdowns, because nobody could go anywhere. So patients couldn't get seen, children weren't in school, so we couldn't screen them. So it really kind of put a halt to the people we could serve. And so now we're just starting, probably in the last year, things have picked up. And while seeing patients isn't 100% back to normal, at least we're moving in that direction. So there were times where it literally halted our projects because there was just nothing we could do,
And is it like, can you please expand more about World Sight Day 2022 and and how high schoolers can contribute?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So again, World Sight Day, it's October 13th, and it's our one and only fundraiser that we have. This year, again, like I said, we're going to do this movie, this journey of this patient. We have an online silent auction. But really, I mean, I think the biggest thing to know is that it doesn't take a lot for someone to support a cataract surgery. So for $25 in 24 hours, it's a 20-minute surgery, and that person can see again. And so, you know, if you think about that, $25 is a couple Starbucks, really, if you think about it, right? And so one of the things that we've started, and we think this is a really great way for young people to be involved, is we've been really kind of promoting our becoming a CBI ally. And what that means is finding ways to support us, whether you want to be a volunteer, you want to use social media to spread the word about what we do, or you want to become a donor. And we've also been promoting our monthly giving. So for example, if you give $5 a month, which is one Starbucks a month, that's how I put it. I put it to my kids.
Yeah, that's a good way.
One Starbucks a month.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, you've given sight to 2 people.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of ways. You know, we encourage young people to become our allies and use, you know, if donating is not an option, be a volunteer. You know, use your social media platform to share what we do to other people. You know, so there's a lot of ways that you can participate that aren't necessarily financial.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
This was very informative. Yeah. And so you and the CBI team really motivated us to really get involved with this combat blindness. So that is why I'm donating $500 from
Oh, wow. Thank you.
from my revenue that I made from shoe reselling. And in addition, this weekend we're completing a 20-mile bike race in New York City, and we're actually going to raise money for the 20-mile bike ride and then donate to you guys, because we really want to see because we saw we really liked how you actually laid out like what each amount does. And so we really wanted to donate money for the cataract surgery and in order to empower women and give them the training course.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Well, you guys should be really proud of yourselves. I mean, you know, to take that kind of initiative and see something that inspires you, and I'm glad we do, and then taking action. You know, I hope that when you share this on social media, it sparks other people's interests, and you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be with CBI. It can be in whatever people feel passionate about. You know, things happen in the world when we work together and we work towards something. And so really that's the core sort of essence of what CBI is partnership and working together and doing your part to make the world a better place. So
yeah, that is our main goal. Just like kind of spread awareness about the CBI and all the great things you guys are doing with including with your partners like UW Whitewater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you tag me when you post this.
Yeah, we will. Yes, we will.
And I can share it on our website too.
So do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think it's the empowering women that just really stuck with me. I think that's just amazing.
Yeah. That's one of all of our initiatives around women's empowerment are some of my favorite projects, I have to admit.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're just wondering because we saw that you were at some points you were working like a corporate job in the medical field, or
yeah, I was actually the director of development at the University of Wisconsin Foundation.
Yeah.
So I actually did fundraising for the foundation for the university. First in the medical school, well at the hospital here in Madison, and then I actually was the director of development for the School of Nursing.
So did that kind of like ever conflict? I know that you were doing it both at once, or did they kind of go hand in hand?
No, they kind of went hand in hand. You know, CBI has always been my passion, and so I was involved as a board member. And then when but then and really I went to the foundation because I wanted to get more experience in fundraising, which I now use to help CBI. And but at one point you do say to yourself, I want to do something, or at least I said to myself, I want to do something where I feel every day when I wake up, I'm super excited and I know that I'm making a difference. And when I thought about what that was, it was CBI. And so I made the decision to leave that position and come back to CBI. And it just, all the chips kind of fell in the right place, and it was time. And so, yeah, I feel very blessed to be doing what I do. So.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. Yeah, I think that was really all our question. That was really informative, and you answered our questions really well. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad, and yeah, feel free to reach out if you have any more questions, or you want any more information. I'm happy to send it to you.
Yeah.
Right, and thank you for all the things that you guys are doing to support CBI.
You can end the recording.
All right.